day.
I look better in the dark.
We're just going to have to deal with ugly. I do it every Thursday, so you can do it one night.
I'm here. Let's do it.
I think we're live.
We're live and in color.
Yay, yep. It's working.
Yay. Ellen says it's working. Yep, so there's a lag.
Yay. There's always a little lag, right?
Seems to be. All right. So I texted you. I said third time's a charm. So if this doesn't work, we're trashing it.
They see us.
Let's see if anybody. All right. Two people are saying they can see both of us, which I think are the only two people watching this. So
we got 3,
5, 6. I'm showing 6 now. Anyway, let's just start over because I deleted out the other video. So for those who don't know who this is Nicholas Nichols. He is a knife maker out of Leland, North Carolina. We've been selling his chef knives and folders for years now. And I've said many and many a times that he makes one of the best chef knives you'll ever see in that price range for the industry. So we'll kind of jump into it and just chit chat for a little bit. So I guess kind of where we left off earlier, this is our third time trying to do this. First time was months ago and second time was 15 minutes ago. So hopefully this one works. So let's jump back into my first question, which was, how long have you been making knives?
I started like officially my website or my logo says 2015, but I would say probably 2013, 2012. I kind of have a little weird end around into knife making. I started out wanting to make like ornamental iron and like gates and things of that nature. But I'm a salesman by I guess always. So I started finding blacksmith stuff and finding like blacksmithing equipment and ended up selling more of it than I actually used. And then happenstance, I sold a leg on to kitchen knives, and I guess about the last year or so we've been making folders, attempting to make folders.
It's been the Guppy's been around for a couple of years.
Years. Yeah, so yeah, that's just I really wanted to make gates and fences and stuff, and then living in a domesticated neighborhood and having 3 small children at a time and a real day job, I really couldn't do it. So
give us your background. What
so I'm I guess a graduate of a really famous culinary school. Have a ton of restaurant experience. I worked selling food to restaurants for about 18 years with 2 different large companies, and recently just became a full-time knife maker in May. So for the last, I guess, truly probably since I started messing with probably 5 or 6 years now, I've been burning the candle at both ends and making knives and also doing the sales stuff. It's definitely a little different being able to do it on this side, just doing this on this side now.
So you're also a full-time truck driver, right? For that, Nick's got to be putting 1 million miles a year on his damn truck. He delivers to everybody. So it hand delivers to everybody. Not I beg him to ship. I'm like, look, we have everybody else ships their knives. Um, hell, Spartan Blades is an hour and a half away from us, and they ship their knives. Um, so you can ship. It's
There was an old salesman told me one time when I first started selling stuff. He said you can't sell them anything. You can always sell them more in person than you can in without being. I guess you can always sell them more in person than you can by just shipping it. So I've kind of taken that to heart, and I definitely try to show up and bring things with me because I can always try to sell you a little bit more.
Hey, Beefstick, he said he does have it. There was a fire across the street from his house in the woods today. So he hadn't had a chance to mess with it. But it's a tight detent issue, and trust me, I can answer for him. It's a very simple fix. I imagine he'll get it fixed and shipped for you tomorrow. Um,
Yep.
uh, that's Kelly. I kind of understand what you're saying. Especially she said that she doesn't blame you for driving everything in the way shipping services have been acting lately. And knock on wood, as bad as North Carolina hit, we've had good luck. We've had a few delays, but not many. Um, but everything we're shipping now,
In person or over the
yeah, but not
phone or
every
something like
week.
that. You know.
You're always
Well,
welcome, but I'm just trying to save you the mileage. Um, uh, so you talked about your restaurant background. Is that what? Because you pretty much got started making chef knives, didn't you?
I made a few knives. I learned from a couple of guys locally. One master bladesmith and one guy that actually makes and sells the grinders. And they kind of told me, hey, you got to make these before you can make a chef's knife. And oddly enough, making the EDC stuff was a lot harder to me to make that than make the chef's knives. So I kind of jumped right into the chef knife world, the kitchen world. I kind of had feelings about it. I just it if you've held a kitchen knife, you coming from the restaurant world too, you kind of what it should feel like, how it should be. Um, and that was just something that was very easy for me to transition into.
Well, was there any inspiration behind your first chef knife besides just the experience in the culinary world?
I wanted to make something a little bit taller. A couple of like companies out there, Bornox and I can't think of the other one, but they make like a larger kitchen style chef knife, and it has a higher and a taller blade, but the handles on them are terrible. So I was trying to make something where your hands didn't hit the cutting board whenever you were kind of chopping through a sack of onions or a sack of potatoes. But I also wanted to make something that kind of it would melt in your hands. If you stand in front of a cutting board for 7, 8, 10 hours a day, um, and you kind of get tired, and you have to move your hand in different position in different places. And that hourglass shape, I tried to make where it would feel good in everybody's hand. So if you hold it up, you can hold it with a pinch grip, or you can hold it with a with a big old meat cleaver grip like you have. Um, you know, you can hold it with a smaller handed person can hold it, whether that be female or male. I tried to make it where it would fit in everybody's hand, and it, it just worked. I also wanted to make something that was affordable, but kind of still had like a little bit of you still had to kind of want it a little bit. Um, that was something fell into my lap and we just kind of ran with it. You
No,
reading or
I
you
was
asking questions?
it's lagging on my end. So my screen
Okay.
looks great. Is it lagging for you?
Excellent. It's good.
It's good. Okay. On my end, you have a lag, and I
Okay.
wasn't sure. So yeah, there might be delays in between us talking.
Okay.
I almost feel like it's the old CB days where I need to be like over. Uh, so
Roger.
yeah, I mean it's I I I I have a culinary background as well, or more just a restaurant background. I shouldn't say. I was in-house trained and just kind of learned a lot of things on my own. I think I'm a pretty good cook, but I don't know if I ever reached what I'd call chef material. But helped manage some kitchens for Daryl/Houlihan's restaurant group for years. Um, and I got to tell you, I mean, out of all the chef knives I've ever used, it's I've said it a million times. I'll say it again. Yours has been the best I've ever used, and we have 3 of them in our kitchen to prove it. So that I won't use anything else. I mean, it's I've got a and I've got a 6-inch chef and I've got 2 full size chefs, and it's all we use. Um, so I've been impressed with it. The only thing that chefs will shun on me for is I'm a finger out guy. That's the fingers right there on the spine. So it is nice that you've got a nice rounded spine here. So at least at the end of the day, when I'm done chopping, the detent in my finger isn't too bad. But I've never been able to break this habit. And chefs watch me chop stuff, and they're like, "You're an idiot." But and every once in a while,
My skin just crawled.
what's that?
My skin
I'm
just
sure.
crawled.
Every once in a while I'll try to remember and I'll try to work on the pinch grip, but by about the 5th rock and chop, I'm going right back. So it's old habits die young, man. So it's or die hard. So I've not been able to stop doing it, and not sure I ever will be. So let's talk about your transition into folders. So I think from the day I met you, you wanted to build a folder. So let's talk. And I did not bring mine out here. I should have, but let's talk about the Guppy, the first Nick Nichols folder. Yeah,
With the folders actually told a little bit better through the cleaver and through the mini cleaver, believe it or not. When I first started making the mini cleaver, it was almost like a joke with the people on Thursday nights. For those that don't know, Scott does a show on Thursday nights on his Instagram. I make a mini. I got started. The guppy is the folding guppy is a version of another knife that I have. It's called the regular. It's just a regular guppy like EDC. Um, to be totally honest with you, I think the making of the folder was because you said that you sell 100 to 1. That's where the market's going. Something like this is a whole lot easier for somebody to carry than a fixed blade or even a kitchen knife. You buy one kitchen knife and it usually lasts you forever, but you can interchange these all the time. Um, I don't know. I always wanted to get there. I guess it was a challenge, and I really didn't understand it. I still don't understand all of it, but I'm trying.
you've always been one of those that if you give them if you give you a challenge and you give you a goal, then you're just going to start. You don't wait the next day. It's like Nick and I have talked about putting on some sort of bigger knife show uh, in our area, and literally like we talked about it that at 9 o'clock at night, and at 2 o'clock in the morning, he's texting me like, "Hey, we could get this place, and we could invite these makers, and we could do this, and we could do that." And I was like, "Nick, I'm going to bed." So it's. I think once the folder got in your head, I'm sure you were lighting places up at 2 o'clock in the morning, going, "We have to make this."
Tell people too, it's a huge learning curve. There's definitely been a whole lot of knives that I've thrown away doing this, where a fixed blade knife, you just make it shorter. One of these, it's going in the trash. So it's definitely been a huge work, hard, huge learning curve, steep learning curve for sure. But yeah, man, it's been fun. I definitely need to kind of been on an island making this stuff. I've kind of asked certain people, taking a few classes here and there, but there's definitely other things that I could, I'd like to get on the road, maybe go visit some friends, or invite myself to their places and go kind of like, learn some more. Because there's definitely all kinds of stuff out there that I've not done or haven't seen. I'm just trying to make the best with what I've got. Not in a bad way, just never really had a chance to go see, how the big boys do it. So,
Well, what made you? People don't understand the difficulty, but since I've known you, you absolutely wanted to make sure it was 100% made in the U.S. Um, what made you decide to go that route instead of offshoring some of this?
due to where that's a huge thing to me. Um, my I come my father's family were all union car uh car or auto plant workers. My mother's brothers are all carpenters. And just to see the decline in like what we can and what we can't buy that's made in the United States has been kind of hard to swallow. Um, I've definitely tried to make it where everything that I put in. I mean, everything in those folders now is 100% made in the USA. The only thing that I can't say where it actually comes from is the box or the bags, that the zipper, there's little zipper bags. Everything else is made in the USA. Um,
You're not finding
every
paper bags made in the USA. I don't see it.
well, not zipper bags. I'm talking about
Yeah,
the little poly bags.
yeah.
And if I could find those made
They're,
in the United States, I'd do that too.
I,
Yeah,
yeah, they're not made in the USA.
yeah.
But
I just, but everything I can get, man, I just, there's definitely a better way. And there's people out there that appreciate it. Yourself being a champion for that, and then there's other people out there that definitely appreciate. Um, this way, and I just, they come over and they're very nice. And I'm just like, I'm not interested. That's not really something that I want to do.
how
I
difficult has it been? I mean, it's it's and I'm not afraid to talk about this. I don't think you'll mind that I do. But when we the Guppy and the Dreadnought, the cost that we found from the people, it's been astronomical. Um,
Yes,
from the full
yes,
tie hardware to the skiff bearings to everything else has been incredibly expensive. Um,
yes.
so and you've found some ways to lighten that load, but it's still a work in progress every time. Um,
Yes, it's definitely been it's been a challenge, and to be totally honest with you, I've went down the road and asked the questions of like, how much, hey, okay, so you're telling me you can do this.
so it's still
Here's all the plans. Here's the idea. Can how much is it? and they come back and they tell you how much it is, and you're just like, wow, I could make a whole lot of money doing that if I did it. Or, you know, um, but I put so much into the brand of it. I say the brand, well, the brand's my name. I put so much into that and everything made overseas and have stuff made at other places that he was trying to pass off as American made. And I don't want to, I don't want to ever be accused of that at all. I don't want that. So if I don't buy it, I guess there's no way to, I don't ever see a time where that makes any sense. I'll tell you this too, Scott. Trying to build a shop, like an actual shop. I've even gone as far to try to buy old American made tools. Just because I'm serious. Just to be able to, um, one, they last better. Two, there's probably somebody around here that can run them. But that's another thing I've tried to do as well. Once you kind of dig into it, man, it kind of permeates through you. I try to buy everything I can American made, even at our house. It's really hard, but I try.
Yeah, yeah, we do.
It's really, really hard.
We do too, and it's like I normally am not this thick through the goatee area here, and um, my cheap clippers broke, and so I had to order new ones. And I tried and tried and tried to find American made beard trimmers. I couldn't find them, so that's had a week delay on it. And my wife won't kiss me anymore because it's just hanging off the lip. She can't stand it.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's very hard. It's very hard to but I always try. I always, and I think you do too. It's like, okay, I got to stop. I got to pick something up. I got to buy a shirt. I got to buy pants, and a lot. All our shirts. It cost us a lot more to have our shirts made because we made sure that they weren't just screen printed in the U.S. We made sure they were 100% made in the U.S. and that's it's getting harder and harder to do.
it's very hard. I mean, we talked about one day we were sitting there, and you're like, where can I get a Rolex, or where can I get this at? Because you wanted to take fancy pictures, and you're like, I want to find an American made watch. And like, I looked for hours and hours and hours and hours, and there's like three companies in the United States that make American made watches,
Yeah,
and they're $25,000 to $30,000. I mean, it's crazy. There's you can buy a Timex. A Timex is made in the United States, but I mean, other than that, man, there's nothing made in the U.S. anymore. It's really
IMAX
sad.
was made in the U.S.
Timex is made in the USA. Yes, they are.
I'll be damned. Okay.
Yep,
Well,
which is crazy.
looks like I'm gonna get a Timex watch at some point. I
Yeah,
I missed that one somewhere. I thought they were made in China or Mexico.
Timex, Timex is made in the United States. It's wild, but yeah, there's you start thinking it. Like you said, shoes. Try to find some shoes that are made in the United States that aren't custom made like loafers or something.
Yeah,
There's it's really hard. It's
it
really
is.
really hard.
Um. All right. Well, talk to me about the Dreadnought. So we've been, if for those who haven't been paying attention, we've been absolutely blowing out, running a special on the Dreadnought. Um, these are marked down to where we literally, by the time we ship and pay fees and everything else, we're not making money. Just threw some new customized ones up. But yesterday, Nick also brought me some bourbon barrel inlaid ones that are fantastic. It's a fantastic knife. Before I get you to talk about it, I'll say that we timed it wrong in the market. It's that it's you know and I take blame for it in a lot of ways. I really pushed this design because I loved it. I love the cleaver design, the cleaver look on it, and it's kind of a cleaver sheep's foot warny mixture, to be honest. But it they were super, super popular for a short period of time. And from the time we decided to go forward with these, which, like I said, we and I didn't share this part, but we were deciding between the 3.5 inch guppy and the dreadnought, and I really wanted the dreadnought. So we went dreadnought. Um, so it's, we've sold them very well, but we've kind of been down to these last 25 or 30 between you and me, or I don't think it was much more than 30, and then the whole market just stopped. Um, and we want to get them out into people's hands, but it's an amazing, in my opinion, it's an amazing knife, and I carry mine. I use it every day, um, and beat the hell out of it too. It's wicked sharp out of the box. It's got great action. Um, I think they were priced absolutely where they needed to be, for full tie, tie hardware, Magna Cut blade. Um, and I think Nick did a great job, made a lot of changes and improvements, from the Guppy to the Dreadnought, and including the action and the closing action, the pocket clip. We even in mid sale of these, we upgraded the pocket clip to a milled pocket clip. We're hoping to get those out, for people who already have one. I get some of those available here in the near future. But it's for whatever reason been a tough seller the last 20, 30 or so of these. Um, but talk to me about the Dreadnought. What the inspiration behind it? The name, anything you want to share on it, and
The Dreadnought kind of came from that story I said earlier. It was a version of the big cleaver. I make a big huge cleaver that's probably 14 or 15 inches long with a 4 inch tall blade, and then we started making the mini cleaver, and then I used to make a folding cleaver, and that's kind of where that got started at. And then I was designing that. That was going to be my first folder, and I was designing, drawing, and then I designed and I drew a guppy. We showed a couple of people, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, we should do that." And I said the same thing. Being the first folder that I made and actually had an OEM company kind of produce for me here in the United States. Up in as we got it, we realized like, hey, this isn't we didn't think about or didn't know and didn't catch. And those things, I just started making lists, and I was like, hey, I want to fix this. Hey, I want to do that. Hey, I want to do this. Hey, I want to do that. And that's kind of how we got like to the Dreadnought. The Dreadnought's original name was the MOR, or the Man of War, which is not even MOR, but that's what we were calling it. Um, so I had
we couldn't call it the Mo.
yeah, we couldn't call it Mo, but anyway, it was definitely one of those things where me and you actually kind of went back and forth about like, what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? I definitely wanted it to be on the same platform. There's other guys out there, Rick Hinder, most of all, that uses that same kind of, knife platform to where everything kind of stays the same. Um, and kind of looking towards the future, if I was ever to be able to do all the, we messed around with the full, that wasn't originally on there. That was something that we wanted to do. I wasn't a fan of the thumb stud. We actually had some at that time. There was another large maker that was having trouble with thumb stud issues and the steel cracking. So that's how we came up with the Fuller design. just wanted to make it an overall, the best knife that we could put out there. Everything that I thought you might want. That's why we went to the Skiff Bearings. Hardware was just so like, hey, there's nothing about this knife that you can, I don't want to say complain about, but like want for or wish for. I felt like we gave it all to you.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my idea from the beginning.
Well, I think we need to finish up. According to Ellen, I think the screen is still freezing up, so we're going to see how this looks when we post it.
Okay.
And if not, maybe the fourth time will be a charge. Oh, all of a sudden, a bunch of comments just popped in. So we're going to see how this lag gets, if it's improves when we post it. If we can even.
Okay.
I mean, this is still learning, and Nick, I appreciate you being on here. So just to let people know, so us and DLT are pretty much your only online dealers, right? And then, yeah, but then you've got a
nothing. They don't carry the
share where
folders.
you can check. If you're in North Carolina but you're not in Salisbury, there's several stores. Any of the stores you want to mention, you got free reign. I know Guns on Main, Forestville.
All the stuff they just went through. They went back to Tennessee and they put everything online. It's a place called Asheville Crafted Edge.
Wow.
So a place called the Cook Station, and great little kitchen store, beautiful stuff there. And if you're over on the coast, the USS North Carolina battleship actually carries battleship made or battleship handled materials or knives over there. So they have a full line of kitchen knives, some EDC stuff, and they actually have some old school original guppies over there too that have battleship teak inlays.
Okay.
And then DLC or DLT trading up in Wisconsin as well. And that's a bit.
Cool. If you guys can't find it with us, check out those places, or if you want to check it out in person, any of those stores. So we're going to post this, see how it goes, but we've got some awesome dreadnoughts and a good number of chef knives available. We're going to have the Guppy 3.5 here coming in the next, hopefully, few weeks. We're not going to put a definite timeline on it. So, but Nick, I appreciate you joining us. Sorry, we're still working out these kinks, but eventually we'll get this YouTube live working great, and we'll add this post, and if it's worth a damn. So.
Yep. I definitely too. We're gonna keep pushing these. You say you have. Let's just say we have 30 between both of us. Definitely appreciate everybody's support. With picking up some guppy or picking up the dreadnoughts, but we definitely want to blow these out and kind of get move on. Get them out there in everybody's hands, and it's a great price, great deal. Like Scott said before, you would be amazed at what they at what appreciated. Don't know what I'd do without you guys.
Hey,
thank you.
No problem. We appreciate you and keep up the hard work, and I'm sure I'll see you in the next week or so. All right. Everybody,
Thanks,
check out
guys.
all the Nick Nichols knives that we have at usmadeblade.com, and we appreciate you watching. All right, Nick. Have a good night.